This is what's wild in New Hampshire by wildlife biologist Eric Orff. Hey, I'm back at Fishing Game headquarters. This is Friday, February 20. I mean February. God, I think it's October. Yeah, I am retired, and even days and months get confused. So Becky FUDA from the Hampshire Fishing Game. She's the deer biologist here at the Hampshire Fishing Game. Becky, tomorrow starts the muzzleloader season. All the wildlife biologists will be diligently working the biological check stations, and let's talk about the upcoming deer season. I know I was just mentioning that I think in 6 of the 20 wildlife management units we're below goal, but in the other more than a dozen, looks like we're at goal or nearly so. And what do you see? What are your predictions for this fall's deer hunting season? I think the muzzleloader hunters will find plenty of deer in the woods. Give me some of your best guesses what's going to happen this fall.
Okay. So I'm expecting it to be another very successful hunting season this year. So last year we had our highest adult buck harvest on record, dating all the way back to 1922.
So the most bucks ever killed in New Hampshire were killed in 2021.
Yes, and so we had a fairly mild winter last year, so we don't expect that there was a lot of overwinter mortality.
Any sense of winter severity index and compared to past years?
Yes, it was mild. It was definitely
like,
milder
6
than
versus
milder
10,
than average.
Milder than average.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't remember the exact number, but so expecting to see another high harvest year this year. Like you said, some of the northern units are still below objective, so we have a more conservative harvest structure up there. But pretty much from the White Mountains south, most of our units are either at objective or above objective, and so we have more opportunity to harvest does in those areas.
And say last year the take was what, 12,000, something like 12,000?
12,551.
Okay, and that's 4th or 5th highest?
It was the 6th highest.
6th highest, all right.
Total harvest. And initial numbers coming in so far seem to be considerably higher than that, but those are preliminary numbers. Right. And
yeah, the archery kill a couple of weeks ago was up 47%.
Yes, yes, but that can change as the season goes on, depending on conditions.
Right. Now, as the season starts tomorrow, it's been kind of warm here. Is that impacting our deer hunt? What do you see with fall weather conditions predict?
You know, a lot of folks schedule their hunting around temperature, around different weather conditions, but most studies that have looked at how temperature, other weather conditions impact deer movements have found that the impact is fairly minimal. So a lot of hunters like to go out when it's cold. That's great if it works for them. But I think the most important thing is really to get out there when you can, because you're not going to be killing any deer sitting at home.
And we know snow can be a big factor, and you know, right now we're certainly in a warm up here, but should be a good fall deer season.
Yeah.
You got plenty of deer. We're at or above goals in 14 of the 20 wildlife management units, so we got a lot of deer scattered across the state. The archery kill is up something like 47%. Don't expect that to happen with the muzzleloader take this coming weekend and beyond, but looks like a good fall season.
I think so. Yep. You know, our mass surveys are indicating that food is a little spotty this year. It seems like a lot of the mass crops are going to be below average. So best bet is to get out there, try to find some food sources like acorns, but it's possible that deer are having to move around a lot more because they're looking for food, so that might make them more vulnerable to harvest.
No, I was in the North Country a couple of days ago with John Harrigan. There were a lot of apples up there. I don't have them down here, but apparently some apples in parts of the state.
There's some apples, there's some oat, some acorns, but it's pretty spotty. A lot of the apples are getting cleaned up already, but if you get out there and scout around before you hunt, you should be able to have some luck.
You know, this last week when I posted the archery thing, there were a number of comments, of course, as are always in, because there's always a lot of armchair biologists across the country, and they're talking, oh well, you know, you can kill 3 bucks in New Hampshire. I don't. Well, why are you allowing to kill so many bucks? And don't you think we have a pretty balanced herd right now?
I think so, yeah. You know, last year, I think 42% of our adult bucks that were harvested were yearlings, and so that means 58% of them were 2.5 years or older, and so that's generally considered a good age structure in the population.
Good, good. So it's coming together. We got a good deer herd. Continues to grow despite some efforts in parts to dampen it down a bit, like in L&M. But plenty of deer. Should be a good fall season. Everybody needs to get out there and hunt safe. Any other suggestions from Becky today?
I'd just like to remind folks that are hunting out of state to please review our carcass importation regulations, because we do have restrictions on what you can bring back, what deer parts you can bring back if you're hunting in a state that has chronic wasting disease. So please protect New Hampshire from chronic wasting disease and review those carcass importation restrictions.
Now, did I see that there was the other disease that deer have to the south that has been identified here?
EHD, perhaps? Yeah, so we did detect epizootic hemorrhagic disease for the first time in New Hampshire. Several weeks ago, we had a positive case in Merrimack County. So that's a disease that's spread by biting midges. So
is it something we never had before because we warm? They've moved up here. What's any predictions of what that happened?
So the midges, it's believed, can travel on wind currents, and the range has been expanding in recent years. So Vermont had its first outbreak within the last few years. New York has had it, Connecticut's had it, and so it's not surprising now that we had our first case of it. I don't believe that it was a very big outbreak, because we only confirmed one case. We had some reports of some other deer that died in that area that we weren't able to test. But if it was a larger outbreak, I would expect to be getting a lot more reports of
and that can be a problem. Some states to our south have lost some significant number of deer from that, haven't they?
So yeah, it can cause localized declines. It's not usually something that's going to have a long-term impact on the deer population, but it can have a localized.
Yeah, I saw that in the paper, and it kind of raised up on the radar to me. But so little likely it's going to impact us too much. That's great news. So as we were saying, with a wrap up, good deer numbers, plenty of good healthy deer, robust deer, good weights, a lot of older mature bucks. So hunters, this is it. And Becky, thank you very much. I appreciate your time and effort and hard work by the staff here at New Hampshire Fish and Game. I know all the biologists will be working the deer check stations tomorrow to bio station. You do check something like 300 deer at those stations?
Oh, we checked over 700.
Over 700? That's a lot of lifting, I remember.
We'll do over 1,000.
Yeah, wow, over 1,000 deer are actually physically checked for their biological conditions. Very good. Thank you very much, Becky. This is wildlife biologist Eric Orr for What's Wild in New Hampshire.